cái như trong đó nên sẽ được tỏ va tỏ trẻ nên Geena Ly Cha nên mong USA TV hay xóa sự trong nên nông nọ cái như trong trẻ này cho lộ hồn chia chỉ nên phân nhiệt thông can tu cái như trong nông nọ thì tan thọ nên sẽ được hồn chia sai mong USA TV when Geena Ly Cha hay xóa sự trong nên ta xin nó biếtเขาxóa sự su ya ýเขาxóa sự hay tiếng ya ýเขาแต่มันchủ sĩ trong tập bên trong Fresno nọ thì trong cái no Saturday làวันเสาร์nhiềuเขาta cái nọ sự mỗi ýเขาแต่มันchủ sĩ trong sĩ xã ở Fresno County lu nói ya lu ở nên jail hay tiếng cho nó sẽ được bài cờ đồ sáng tới thì khi mà trong lúc sáng rồi nó sư thông tới giờ nó thầu sân gió như chị trâu li nó Fresno County Sheriff là lúc office là làm một hái nó mà hay tiếng mấy tu nữa giờ hay tiếng thầu u giờ ý tưởng gang member nữa giờ đó là ý bằng gang nhau bên trong Fresno nó lớn bây giờ tông va nó nữa tàu mù tì Fresno County Jail chị thầu nữa mù cho sát tí nó chị nương ga lúc họ trong bài cho sát hậu nó chị nương giờ là một trắng cho sẽ được lên theo một ga cho hậu nương mù tí tên bà nương mù chùa thứ tư nữa đóแต่ชิมาthầu nương mùวันนี้nó lên theo là mùวันนี้nó mù nhỏ hậu nó chỉ nương chỉ cả lên theo tất cả nó chỉ nương là mù chia lên theo cho sẽ đời cho khoảng cảแต่ชิมาmua ô tô tu chẳng sự ý tu thì nó Juanita Davila ý tu thì Toma Lama nếu lu sành hoặc thì Scalen nó ô tô nó là một hai cho nương hai tiền nương tránh chỉ tàu là mù nhỏ béวันนี้nó chỉ cho họ lên theoไปcho hậu nếu chỉ tàu mù nhỏ đặc cá này chỉ nương chỉ trong xe chỉ là bỏ tàu hay tiền nếu mua kế mua lò lên nương chỉ xe là giá tên đỡ chỉ có là hai nương tiền do nếu mua kế nhớ xe giá nương tàu mua rổ mình chỉ tên đỡ choแต่ชิมาthầuวันนี้nóก็là một hai nương này chỉ cho là mua lù li giá này chỉ nương tàu thỏi đã bỏ là mộtตัวอ๋อทุกๆอย่างสื่อเนาะtrong cái sổ tao hậu thiên một trong cái gia đa chỉ có sáu cái lý thiên thì tụi nó về để tông và nó trở li là cho tôi chẳng xử là một hai nó cho record nó mà nó do ít tu hay tiền đó ít baวันnày nó mong làวันไล่thầu u thầu cho gì đó là tứ tao cho nó mũ cờ này tiền cọ này nó nhỏ cổ cho xong trò là mà muốn được chạy tới lóแต่สิคอนเดอร์ในเจเนอร์มุ่งย้อนตัวลิโกโจชงซื้อเจถอพากบเล้าตาหนึ่งตัวเต๋อเต๋อลอมูเลอเจถนที่ถลุจวดลีวันที่เล้าพากบเล้าเดอขอเลยมุ่งหนึ่งมุมเตเกอร์ถจวดโจยินเดอมาให้เตียเลยเปิดมองวันตาต่อวันเก่งถงเดอร์นมาเลยมัวเจ้าปนเนี่ยวันในนอมีเงินใช้เจ้าหมูวันในนอวันเนียนเดียเลยเจ้าหมูหมอต่อเจ้าโฮเทลย้อนเดอร์จะเกวันในนอเจฟรีไว้โจโจจวนเดอร์แล้วเจเลยที่ริมมัวเลยป้าวันในนอเก่งเนี่ยเจ้าไปเกอร์แต่ชิจีถอพากบเล้าthằng này tờ là một số li ở phải cổ trâu nó những chỉ mua record chỉ mua tấm bằng lý cha chỉ là chỉ bao thì cho vi lý cha nu nửa tua trâu nu Saturday tỏ quan tới tôi một sai chuẩn là phân dư là lý cha nhớ hậu cha nữa không mua họ tấm bằng trừ xin tới thì thêm mua phò là một tua ở tu chẳng xỉn tới gỡ sai cái lý thia cái ta tỏ bự tỉ ở này nó không màuแต่chỉ nó chỉ nhớ lời họ là hay tiệt critical condition nữa nè họ nói mà cũng muốn cho lose là một trâu sa ở này nó tôi chẳng xử là một hai cho họ hay tiền một tấm bằng trừ sĩ lý trả tên tới sứcแต่chỉ lớn đây tàu thùng và lợi nửa tàu mua này là nửa tàu họ chỉ đầu lợi thì là mua tàu nửa bùa thêm để tàu lợi chỉ có video men tới do ít kho nên nó và thay tàu lọt khi đó nên hay tiền lợi bùa nửa lý trả mình chỉ đầu giống tên tới sứcแต่chỉ toàn tên nó thay tàu lọt thì bây mớiได้ video là một trong những sai để video đó nên chỉ thay cho họ từ share na Margaret này nó memes từ đó là một khi đó sẽ đầu thì nếu ấy kho là hồi để press conference là do ấy kho thì châu sẽ đầu tôi một hôm chia ấy thì là một khi đó thì do vì lý trả lý trả lên để tụi tin hơn là thì ở trả ô tô ở tôi chẳng sự họ tàu này nó tụi tin hơn để tàu muaตัวsai lý trả tên tàu này chỉ cũng cho nên một sai để video đó nên thì post này trả lù thì có thay là còn nên bỏ tàu thế hay thì mua này nó tới mình chịu sự khó tư tên tàu nó là USA TV cho tôi họ sở sự là một trong nè chỉ cho nên một sai để video này ít nhiều để cho mình chỉ nói chỉ tan tờ của mình là một hai sở sự trong nè.
Good afternoon. Two veteran correctional officers of the Fresno County Sheriff's Office are in the hospital after being shot in the head and neck areas. Juanita Davila, who has 18 years of experience, is listed in critical but stable condition. Toa Scanlon, who has 10 years of experience, is listed in critical condition. The suspect, who has been arrested, is 37-year-old Tong Vang of Fresno. Tong Vang has prior criminal history. In fact, he was involved in the 1998 rape case where gang members kidnapped and raped 3 victims who were 12, 13, and 14 years old. There was a magic investigation, and Vang was sentenced to 19 years in prison for rape in concert with gang enhancements. He served 16 years and was paroled to the city of Fresno in September of 2014. Contact with parole indicates that he has, until this morning, complied with all requirements of his parole. He is in custody, as I said, and he was transported to the hospital for minor injuries sustained during the struggle. Shortly after 8:30 this morning, Tong Vang entered the main lobby of the Fresno County Jail. He came in saying that he wanted to visit somebody and tried to get to the head of the line. He failed to comply with orders to get in the back of the line, continued to act agitated, walking around the lobby. He was confronted by correctional officers who insisted that he wait his turn in line. The lobby of the jail is a public area. It had about 15 people in the lobby, including small children. Vang began to show signs of bizarre behavior and pacing back and forth near a metal detector in the lobby of the jail. That metal detector leads to a secure area of our main jail at the corner of Fresno and M Street. A correctional officer working at the desk called in for help when it looked like Vang was going to resist, which he did. Juanita Davila was the first to confront Vang. He pulled a gun out of his clothing somewhere and began shooting. As the correctional officers that had been called for help approached, they heard the shots being fired. Toa, as he approached the suspect, was then shot. Additional jail personnel responded, including a jail lieutenant. The jail lieutenant was the only person in the jail at the time that had a firearm with him. When he responded, he saw the suspect with the gun and fired several shots at Vang. Vang then retreated into a hallway, a secure hallway, and Deputy Sheriff and Fresno police officers arrived at the scene. When he was confronted by sheriff's deputies, he showed his weapon, dropped it outside of the door, and said that he wanted to be arrested. He was held at gunpoint while other law enforcement personnel pulled the 2 victims out of the lobby to awaiting ambulances. Actually drug them out of the lobby to the ambulances that were waiting outside the front door. All sheriff's employees and witnesses, including the people waiting in the jail lobby, are being interviewed right now. The sequence of events and exactly what happened, we are still finding out. At one point, the suspect was tased. We don't know who or at what point during the struggle that happened. As far as the jail goes, it is on lockdown. As you can imagine, there will be no visiting until further notice. So members of the public should not go to the jail expecting to visit anyone in custody at this time until we give you clearance. C.O. Davila is the mother of 2 children. She has 3 grandchildren. Toa Scanlon has 6 children. I've been to the hospital. I've been able to see them both. I've been able to speak with the family members. They're all there, along with many concerned and worried members of the sheriff's office and their families. Our chaplains are helping out. So this is a very sensitive time for the members of the Fresno County Sheriff's Office. Of course, we're all praying for their full recovery, and I ask that the public at large do the same. I appreciate all of the emails, the telephone calls, the Twitter comments that I've received. I can only respond to the most critical at this point, but I will in the future respond to all of your thoughts and positive comments that you're making. Does anybody have any questions?
Sheriff, we heard that that the deputies, one was shot in the head area and the other one in the neck. Can you elaborate on that?
They're correctional officers.
I'm sorry, the correctional officers
Their
were shot.
assignment is to work specifically in the jail. They were both shot in the head and neck area. As far as I know at this point, both were shot just once. So that's the detail that I can release right now.
Can you talk to us about what their current status is in the hospital? I know you said it, but can you repeat that again?
Officer Davila is going into surgery for repair of a broken jaw. Officer Scanlon is going into surgery because of the critical injuries that he does have. He's going into surgery right now. In fact, when I left the hospital, both of them were on their way to surgery. Again, Officer Davila is in critical but stable condition. Officer Toa is in critical condition.
Can you comment if Dan was visiting a family member? If he has family members in there? Excuse me? Was he visiting family members? Does he have
The suspect.
the suspect? Yes.
I don't know who or the relationship of the person that he was going to see in the jail. His comment was he was there wanting to visit someone.
Sheriff Mims, you seem very emotional, understandably. This is a part of your family. Talk to me about kind of how you and your staff are doing right now.
We will deal with this. We certainly have resources available for everyone, including our chaplains that I mentioned before, our employee assistant programs. We have peer counselors, and then the support that we all show each other. It is a very emotional issue because this is a family. We leave our first families and join another family when we work. So we care deeply about each other. We understand that what we do has risks. What we do has risks. I'm very proud of the way our personnel responded, running towards danger even when they knew shots were fired. I'm very proud that they were able to take somebody into custody. He has some very minor injuries that he sustained during the struggle, and he was transported to the hospital. When he is treated, he'll go back to the Fresno County Jail and be held until his trial.
You talk about the kind of being a family unit here, but also the families over at the hospital. You mentioned going over there as well. What has the conversation been with them?
Well, as you can imagine, the families, when they responded, they were in shock. They were able to see their loved ones, and that's always better when you're able to actually put your eyes on and the person that you're worried about, and because you feel better that at least you can see them. When I leave here, I will go back to the hospital to see how everyone is doing. But they are surrounded now by not only their immediate family members, but the family of the sheriff's office to support them in any way that we can. And I have to mention also the excellent medical staff and treatment that our personnel is getting. When we go to CRMC, not only for our personnel, but for the public, we know that they're going to get quality, first-rate treatment. And that's what's happening right now.
This is the first shooting at the jail in history?
This is the first shooting in the jail during my career here at the sheriff's office. So we have not had this happen before.
Sheriff, I think you already went over it a little bit, but could you say one more time how the suspect was eventually brought into custody, just kind of that series of events?
After the shots were fired and our two correctional officers were down, one of our jail lieutenants, who is a peace officer, he carries a weapon, responded to the lobby. As he saw the suspect, he saw that he was armed, he fired at the suspect. The suspect then retreated to a secure area of the jail, and at that time, then we have some deputy sheriffs arriving who see him. The suspect actually dropped his gun down on the floor and said, "I want to be arrested." He was held at gunpoint while the rescue occurred of the correctional officers. So while he was being held, other deputies actually grabbed the wounded and pulled him out of the lobby to the waiting ambulances.
Forgive me if you already repeated, but were these two correctional officers armed?
No, they were not.
Is that standard protocol for them to not be armed, even in the lobby area?
Yes, that is. Recently, if we have enhanced training for our correctional officers, they aren't peace officers. They are correctional officers. Now, if they're involved in our transport unit, where they transport inmates from one place to another, we have enhanced training where we do, while they're on duty, give them firearms, and they're trained and are allowed to carry weapons, but not the officers in our lobby.
Given that no other people in the lobby were hurt, I believe, do we believe that, other than him just wanting to get to see somebody inside the jail, that he had ill-will feelings towards law enforcement at all?
We don't know, and I can't even confirm that he was in fact there to visit. That's what he said. After he's interviewed, if he speaks, we might get some more information. All I can do is repeat what he said at that particular time, and that's what he said. If you take a look at the diagram, at the very top where the double doors are, that's the entrance to the lobby. And you can see at the point where it says suspect, that's where he ended up and was taken into custody. He had fled to that back area and was in a secure area of the jail. You can see the two words that say rescue. That's the location of where our correctional officers actually fell and were rescued from. On the right where it says sheriff employee, that's where our lieutenant came. There's an elevator and a stairwell there. That's the area from which he came, where he confronted the suspect. And as you can tell, it's not easy to see where the suspect was from where he was. But that explains the diagram that you see there.
I know it might be a little early to talk about, but does this make you maybe reconsider security measures for the lobby of your jail?
Well, believe me, this is going to be debriefed. We're going to take a look at, what we do. Can we do it better? We've been in discussion for many years about making the correctional officers peace officers, and determining who is armed and who's not in the jail. Of course, not even deputy sheriffs carry firearms up on the floors of the jail. No one does. However, I think by giving them peace officer status, it will help make a decision on, for instance, even laws. This is not an assault against a peace officer. They aren't peace officers, but it's an assault against a custodial officer. So there's some specific laws that will apply to this, and it's very easy, I think, for the public and maybe even other law enforcement officers to say, why wasn't the suspect shot? Why wasn't he hurt? I've emphasized in my personnel, we're professionals. We react in a reasonable manner. We react lawfully, and that's what happened in this case. When the deadly force was no longer present, the sheriff's office personnel responded appropriately. And now he will be held accountable for what he did.
Sheriff, there have been a number of shootings involving law enforcement really this year alone, and having this one happen here at home, how hard is that for you?
This is always hard, but we know our duty, we know our responsibility, and we step up, and we'll continue to step up. I think it's underrated about the danger that our correctional officers face. I don't think it crosses the public's mind very often unless you are able, and many people have been on a tour of the jail to see what they face. I think they underestimate the professionalism, the training we provide for them to be in a custodial setting and be responsible for the security and the safety of 3,000 inmates that we have every day in the jail. And I want to commend them for stepping up every day and doing that job, a job that many people wouldn't even think about trying. They're professionals, I'm proud of them, and they behaved in a manner today that I'm very proud of.
Sheriff, can you talk to us again about the deputy who did fire at Vane? And will that employee be placed on administrative leave because it was inopportune law?
The employee that fired at the suspect was a correctional lieutenant. And he will go through the same protocol that anyone in the office goes through with a paid administrative leave. And he, of course, is being involved in interviewing. That will probably happen tomorrow or the next day. That's a normal thing for to happen. But as you can imagine, with all of the witnesses that were in the lobby, this is going to take some time to get an exact sequence of events and exactly what happened. This is all very, very preliminary. This guy is a prison inmate. He's a convict. He's a parolee. And maybe that's where he belongs for the rest of his life.
I've spoken with you recently about Prop 57, Prop 47, this whole, I mean, we can go into politics right now, but this is a convict, as you were saying. I mean, is this what you are concerned about for our future with having these criminals out on the streets?
This particular parolee was not in custody on charges that would have been eligible if Prop 57 passes. He did 80% of his sentence, which is the law, it's allowed, and he was paroled. We've been in contact with his parole officer who did tell us that since he got out of prison in 2014, he's been complying with all of the conditions of his parole. What happened? What changed his mind to decide to act out and confront our correctional officers this morning? We don't know yet. But that's certainly a question we'll find out.
Can you talk again about security measures? Are there metal detectors in the lobby, or how exactly is it set up?
When you walk into that lobby area, and you can see lobby 1 there, it's a public area. So the public walks in to conduct all kinds of business at the jail. They check in for visiting. There's a kiosk there where they can put money on the inmate books. There's all kinds of public things. That's where people go, for instance, for live scan services. So it's just a government public access area. So there's a lot of business that happens, including somebody that maybe want a CCW. That's where they will go to do their live scan. So there's a lot of business that goes in and out of there, and it's a public area. There are 2 metal detectors in that lobby area before you go into secure areas of the jail. So where you see the sheriff's employee, there's a metal detector there. And back down where you see the suspect, back towards the lobby desk, there's a metal detector there. So before anybody enters actually the secure area of the jail, there are metal detectors, but the rest of it is a government public lobby.
After this incident, does it, I know you mentioned we'll be debriefing or I guess examining things on how security can be improved, but is that something you think they'll ultimately end up doing, putting metal detectors in the lobby?
We really don't know yet, because if you put metal detectors there at the jail lobby, that means you have to staff it. Somebody would have to be there if it goes off to screen people. But that's something we're definitely going to talk about. Whether or not we end up doing it is another thing. But it does not have the security, for instance, that the courthouse has. It does back into the secure areas if you go that far, but not for the general public purposes.
Can you please repeat the age of victims and for how long have they been in the department?
I don't have their ages, but I can tell you that Toa Scanlon has worked at the sheriff's office for 10 years. Prior to that, he worked 7 years as a juvenile correctional officer. And Juanita has worked here 18 years. So they are veteran correctional officers.
Sheriff, we're on Facebook Live with thousands of people all over, and everybody keeps saying sending prayers, sending prayers.
I believe. So keep those prayers coming, not just today, but for law enforcement across our country every single day.
Sheriff, from beginning to finish, about how long was the altercation before he was apprehended?
I don't have the exact time, but from the way it's described to me, it's mere minutes that this all happened. And that's kind of normal when it comes to gun battles. They're usually over very, very quickly. We have had, as you all know, a deputy sheriff killed in the line of duty. The actual incident took seconds. The actual operation was hours. We are now in the investigative phase of this, where now we slow things down and take our time. We've secured the jail lobby. We are going to count rounds, how many shots were actually fired. And as you can imagine, it's a mess. There's a lot of glass. It's been broken. Several shots were fired. So now we sort through the chaos and determine what the facts are of what happened during the incident, the sequence of what.
Trong xe thế tàu cho nên một cổng mình chỉ trâu khó và này nó Sheriff Mims Margaret Mims là một hải tàu trâu khó tiệt tụ thông nó tàu một tua lỡ tỷ và này nó lú và của những hộp bên trong Fresno nó thế trong lúc Saturday thầu trong tu nó là muốn được charge trâu lỡ hay tiệt này nó và có charge là muốn được charge trong tàu này chỉ hay tiệt attempted murder chỉ ta linh tàu theo possession of a firearm by a felon chỉ ta linh tàu theo hay tiệt nữ trận ca tàu và này nó ý cho này nó drugs cho nữ theo một trâu tỷ này chỉ là charge back họ nó trong nữ trong lúc Saturday thầu trong tu đó nữa nào con nó này chỉ trong xe thì bé cổng tàu này theo họ thay tàu mình chỉ làm trong nàyแต่chỉ có số sự tuần tây nói cho nên là một trâu hải cho khó ý khó thì hay tiệt ý do Labor Day là giờ nó nói giờ in nó hay tiệt nó vẫn giờ vẫn thế nó vẫn để nó giờ rồi có thể Labor Day weekend chỉ tuần tây nó bé còn next số sự này chỉ hải cho bé cho nên một trâu để nó shop về Carousel Park เขานอนยอดไปวันนี้น้ำมงมินนิโซตาลูวันนี้น้ำมินนิโซตาเดย์แล้วยอดวันนี้น้ำมินนิโซตาสเตทเฟร์ตัวจำมงเนี่ยเขานอนในใจยอดอีคอแต่อีชงน้อยชงน้อยชงที่อ้อละชงวันนี้น้ำตาน้อยแสดงมุจงก็เทียเขานอนยอดอีคอ organization วันนี้น้ำกงเราหมู่เจ้าให้เตียเรากว่าตัวเขาแต่มงมินนิโซตาเดย์เนาะเขานอนในใจตัว organizer เราเจ้าเราหมู่ตัวเขานอนคิดตัวชงตาน้อยอย่างบ้านน้อยชงที่อ้อยอดตุ้นจะเป็นชงที่ตัว Liz ชงnó ở tu sợ chế là một khi nó đang tu chống cái lý thia tu Jerry Hamner tu nói giờ tu general manager tao có fair đó nếu hai tia lu mong Minnesota Day tao lu trong ta nó tao khó sát Labor Day tao mong tu chống cái lý thia nếu chỉ tao bỏ tao hai tia nếu nó nếu chỉ sai thì mong tu chống bỏ linh taoแต่chỉ ít khó là hồi tia breaking records hai tia khó hai tia mong tu chống cái lý là trong xe cái thiết gì trong nó giờ ý trong tia là rác khi tao bu tao mong vào khó nếu nó fair tao bị sang Minnesota chỉ dành cho nó cũng cho nên một trâu ý đại video còn nếu bỏ tàu thì sẽ được lo dễ bỏ lý trả thì sẽ happy nên nó Labor Day nó sẽ được tan họ thông căn tù nè trong xe thế của tàu tôi họ nên van nên chế nè tàu nên nó thay giáo sư đó nè cái happy Labor Day đó nè sau đó thì thông can tu thì đời bên trong nó trong này chắc bên nhiệt chính nè không chứ mi giờ đó cho lâu không chứ nó cái nhớ trong trong này sau đó nè chỉ cũng cho nên một trâu nên nó chỉ bây giờ tôi là tôi luôn cái ít lên tận đây nó cũng mà là cái cho giáo sư lòng trong này thì trong xe thế này cộng đặc biệt là mọi người dạy TV nó hay giáo sư trong này của hiện Geena Ly Chaเขาgiáo sư tận đây nó do ítเขาgiáo sư thế cho là một trong này trong xã về Eau Claire Wisconsin cha trong này hay tiệt ta chỉ nói kia sư ở trong về City Hall như thế thứ sáu một hôm lử nó chỉ là ta tỏi lời anh thiệt linh năng cầu tu tín năng đợi cho mong nữa nè vì thế tận đây nó lúc cổ ít hình tu nó là xã có muôn năng cầu tu cho là hồi interpreter là chỉ ta linh tờ nó chỉ lời vừa nè nó và ít cho là hu hay tiệt poll workers cho nó giá thầu sau đó bài bom bá lúc cổ ý liền tu nó là bao tàu hồi tiền nhỏ trâu xa và này nó Eau Claire nhỏ trâu xa Wisconsin này nó mong cho population là mong cho châu nhỏ cái thiên nó chỉ là xài doanh năng cầu tụi tín năng và hậu lự giờ này giờ ý tụi tín năng này giờ US citizen này và sa ta lợi thiên này cầu gì trong thiên này chủ tàu nhỏ xa Eau Claire là và này nó Chippewa và này nó county giờ linh đạo nó chỉ nên chỉ liền muốn đã City Hall sư để nên muốn có nên muốn apply là lúc office muốn cái hậu City Hall nó chỉ trong cái này social thế ID thế nó hun chia cọ làอยู่วันนี้ว่าเขาหลือนะจีเลยที่รีบเอาแต่เข็มตัวตื้อนั่นน่ะจะเขาน้อยอย่าอีคอให้เดียเลยอย่าปี training เกี่ยลูกเก่าลิงตู้น้อยจีที่สาวเขาหลือหมู่อย่า translator เลยอย่า interpreter นั่นย้อนจงนะหมู่ใช้เลยใช้ตอนได้เนาะ now next เขาสอนสื่อตอนได้เนาะนะจีอย่าอีเขาสอนสื่อเทียว่าชาละหมู่ตรงนี้ย้อนตัวชาไป Sacramento แต่ฉันเนาะเลยแล้วไม่เขาจะจีเชื่อละหมู่เจ้าให้เดียเลยยังไม่ตู้ตุ้มมงหรือรุ่นเบหูวันนี้เนาะให้เดียJohn ya nó nửa năng của chồng là ở mua nửa khó trong plau nó là một sầu vậy là tức sầu ta lợ vậy tận đây là chỉ là mua khó thì sentence nó trong nửa khó tới bằng chữ sĩ nó mà hay thì thọ ốp hai cổ plau nửa tàu tua ít tu này nó tu mong tàu tua còn nó chỉ giờ ít khó là mua là charge nửa hay thì second degree murder vậy chỉ ốp hai cổ plau là một do lý ta sĩ nó chỉ nửa trong plau là nhiều khó mua hải ta kia xứ trời li Sacramento County cho Georgia cho mua rồng nó nửa trong plau đó nó chỉ là hay tiền nữวันนี้เนาะเตาตัวตัวนั่งเดี๋ยวตัวเตี้ยเทียขอที่อีอยากขอชอร์จขอเตาขอที่อ้อนะจีหรือชอร์จเนี่ยเราอีกขอเตียน deadly weapon เนาะนึงกาเนี่ยเนาะให้เตียอีขอย้อนเดี๋ยวนี้รู้จีเนาะตัวโตอีทุกที่นั่งจะขอแต่มันชื่อสีนะมาถออ้อพากบเล่าเตอมวยอีทุกคนที่ยองเล่านะเป็นอยู่อียองถอรู้ชี้ลินตุ้งเดี๋ยวนี้เตาต้านเนี่ยเจ้าเชียขอแต่มันนะจีเลยหมู่ชีเจ้าชา Santa Cruz รอหนึ่งที่หนึ่งใจนั่งเทียแล้วมวนเนี่ยเทียมวยตุปนเนี่ยมวยมีหยงหุ่นเสียเต้นเตอแล้วเราหมู่จ่อต่ออีลูล้านเฝอลูล้านเดี๋ยวเดี๋ยวเฝอ bar restaurant เนี่ยโฮซาโกเมนโตจะถอดเราหมู่จ่อต่อในเจมัวอีป้าเดี๋ยวเต็มบาทเจอรีวันเนี่ยเนาะจอนต้มต่อเนี่ยมาโจแรงนั่นน่ะเจเลยอย่าอีป้าเลยจอนเก่งเนาะจะถอดหนึ่งกาเราหมู่เฮาในเจป้าเก่งเนี่ยแล้วหัวแต่มอง nation society เก่งเนาะจะถอดเราหมู่นอเฝอในเจเนี่ยนอตูนจอนยาวว่าแล้วยมหนึ่งไปเกินนอหนึ่งปอเตาให้เตียนแล้วรู้เจนนั่งงอมงเล่าเตอแล้วอีตู้นั่งแล้วตูมีหัวตู้เตอยี่ห้อวันเนี่ยนอเถาอู้มัวตั้งมันดอแล้วเปิงเก่งเตอในเจแล้วตอนชายเต้นเตอเทียในเจแล้วเจนนั่งมงเล่าเนาะเตาเตอเดี๋ยวรู้ล้านนอเฟิร์เตอจะถอดแล้วไปจอนเดี๋ยวร้องในเจต่อ parking lot ในเจป้ามีหัวไล่เดี๋ยวเตาแล้วก้ามูจอนเดี๋ยว parking lot เจนมูจอนเดี๋ยวในเจที่ริมวัดเดียเรามงก็เตาตูวันเนี่ยนอว่ายองเล่าเนาะตัวตัวตาเนี่ยเจ้าเชียละอย่าเลยที่มัวตุนจอนยาเนาะตอนเด็กเกิดละในเกี่ยวเลยที่เลยหายเขาต้องเปล่าในเกี่ยวเตี้ยตาละเกี่ยวเลยให้เดี๋ยวเลยมัวใน sentence หรือมัวหนึ่งจะไปเกิดเนาะเลยมัวเกี่ยวปีเจ้าลูกจัวลิงตัววันที่เป๊ะเจ้าออฟหากเจ้าเนาะหนึ่งเนี่ยเนาะเขาเนาะจะจีเชียหรือมัวใน Sacramento Superior Court ตัวนี้ Judge Ernestเนี่ยเนาะ Saltail เนาะอย่าเขาสอสื่อเนาะจอแล้วเนาะตรงนี้แล้ว next เป็นเขาสอสื่อที่เรามุชาตรงนี้ให้เดียแต่ฉันเอาเกซื้อเนาะตัวชาไป Sacramento แล้วอย่าตู้แจงสื่อที่เสด็จยอแล้วเพิ่งมัวแต่ไทยเราหมดตัว social media Facebook เต็มต่อให้เจ้าขอให้เดียเนี่ยเนาะเนาะตัวชา South Sacramento เนี่ยเนาะมัวอีจอนั่งไล่แล้วอย่าอีจอนั่งเลยเนี่ยเนาะเพิ่งหมู่จงแล้วเต้ว่าเต้เจ๋โลแล้วอย่าอยู่ต่อเขาอยู่จะเช่นะเจ๋แล้วมัวพอคงอยู่เนี่ยอยู่เต้เนี่ยอยู่มัวจีคงจะ chẳng chắn nhá để lưu chế là mới dùng không gì lợi tàu mới nhia nè nó thế lợi nè nó tàu mới dùng tàu nè chỉ khó tới bằng chữ xin tàu ấy là phương mất tàu tan đó trong sát social media thế có cho tôi chẳng xử tàu nè nó cha thế khi đó sẽ được hỗn chế tan đó cho bây sân thì từ nhớ trong sát South Sacramento nè chỉ khó lợi hay tiệt nè nó từ tàu ma cho tới bằng nó là mấy giờ cho nên Asia còn gấu sức chỉ mua lựa cho nên là nó chỉ do có mua tàu nè nó cho có từ ấy là mua cho camera ấy tên thầu là những thay tàu là cho camera nó hỗn chế liền để khu nhục quốc khi đó nên tàu nhưng mấy tôi tin rằng thọ cái trap họ là một không ấy tôi nên Asia đó chỉ sao của community là cho nên bây giờ chỉ trong share hay tiệt nè nói là do nên Asia xứ nói chị nè nó là phương ma cho tấm bằng tờ ý dạng gầu lý ý tu và này nó chỉ năng được chạc hay là lúc bêแต่是你要只要叫了老天你要叫着落你还点你lúc chế năng lời nhớ hồ là va là chế tên tờ xứ nó có trong trọ nên nó muốn cho nó có trong vậy nên nó mua ít ba lái tôi chỉ lý thơ cái lúc có trong khi kiên tờ chỉ là gặp bỏ hồn gì là gặp một trò hậu chế là mua nè nó như là tê khổng tế thế nó là một không lời hồn gì chỉ có nó là chị nè nó và sợ đời cho năng sai Asia chỉ trong xe thia hay tiệt tốt chẳng sự lấy chủ tàu muốn thia thiên tệ cả tàu cho tính năng nó vì thế tại xin nó cho tính năng nhớ sa South Sacramento lấy như một cái trai có lý thia là một trò san nó hay tiệt trò sai invading homes tên tàu đó nó chỉ tại xin nó chỉ khó lấy tiệt sợ đời nhưng mua chứ chống là chỉ cho xa kia tên tàu tên mua tên mình tàu nó mà vì thì cho nên Asia lỡ chỉ cho bao luôn mấy cả tên tàu này chỉ từ từ vào xếp phe lên đó trâu lỡ nhia lỡ nè nó tuôn cả lại tên va tên chế nó lỡ chỉ bao hay là mấy cả này chỉ là chỉ chia cả lìa chỉ muốn cho tên tàu là sựแต่是mà ít cho lúa tên tàu là tàu ma nè nó tên bằng chỉ trâu lỡ thia là những chỉ cho còn tàu chế là thêm mua thay thêm mua hải thêm tàu ta rồi Facebook hải cho san tàuแต่是nó chỉ tu chính sự nếu như để tàu ít cho lại thiết trở lại cho video camera là thay tàu cho tiếng năng tờ cho lên để tàu tờ lấy do cho đu và này nó sẽ phê cho năng Asia tên tờ sự nào khó chỉnh chén chấp lời này chỉ cho năng Asia hay tía lỡ khó lớn trai nào mà lớn trai hay tía này nó tên bà ít trả cho tiếng năng lợi là cá họ tức là tên tờ sư nữa nè chỉ cho hai tiếng nhớ cái này lợi tên chế tiêu tên nó là tên bà là mù to lợi tên khư mù to tên tờ nó lọ cho tiếng năng trời là cá tỏ lọ chỉ thì là mù cá lợi tên va tên chế tên tờ nó chỉ trời lấy tôi chẳng sự hái nó chỉ lợi hai tiệt cho mua tên bằng chủ xin tao chấp lời nó chỉ nhớ tỏ và lợi khó chờ và lợi tên apartment tên tờ ilu hồi tiệt này nó Avondale ilu tiệt Fruit Ridge Manor ilu hồi tiệt Southeast Village ilu hồi tiệt Glen Elder nó cho nó chỉ thì mua cho năng lẩu nhó trong tên tờ nó chỉ nhưng mua tên năng một trong là cho va cho chế thiết là chỉ li tên thầu tờ cái hậu chase là lấy không cái co này chỉ là mua phật tờ rồi co lợi chỉ là nhia co lú wall lợi nhia cái tên nhia tên nó thiết nè chỉ còn yon trong hay tiệt do từ nhó rồi sát South Sacramento thọ sẽ đời thiết tiệt cóอยู่ว่าchỉ là saiอยู่trong thiết cóอยู่chỉ trong có ít trả chỉ muốn năng lợiอยู่cá tên tờ rồi mà tờ hậu chế làอยู่nhó va nhó chế nó nên chỉ tao sau hay tiệt do từ cho nên mà khách trong này nè nào có next so xử này thia này nó cha là một trâu nè cho nên một trâu tới chờ này nó lọt chùa thia lúc nó kia xuyên hôm Monday nó nhớ học viện chăn tới chờ blo này nó President Barack Obama giờ tụ President nhớ tụ mấy cả họ cánh cửa là một số tài sĩ nói giờ tụ su President nhớ sau sai United States nó tàu bánh gì sai chùa tới chờ blo thia nó chỉ họ nói giờ ý kho hay thia trong xe cái gì thia hoặc là hay nữ tư tự nữ họ office đó này chỗ mua họ sẽ hở thia rồi cho đặc cái muốn gì rồi tới chờ blo thia nó khó này nó nếu muốn gì tên tờ nó mà nữ xã gọ muốn tàu tàu phăng như đặc cái rồi tới chờ blo thia một trong sát Southeast Asia đó vì thế là mới khó trong này nó xã là nữ thì tàu muốn gì thông bờ để xem mà nữ xã muốn gì rồi tới chờ blo khó nếu muốn cho nóขั้นต่อตัวเพิ่งยืมมาผู้ถอยอีเช็ดจบปวดจบเล้าติงกับรถชาจบเป้ที่เขมิกานอเลยซามบล็อกมูจอเจ้าจอยหงมูจอมบล็อกโดยที่เขมบลอนเตาชับเปล่าต้านเราจะได้เฉยที่ต้านทอจะเก้งกือเรามูจอแต่ชินอในเจนึงมัวเนี่ยนอว่าลีออปวดชาเจ้าว่าล้านว่าเนี่ยนอนล้านนั่นน่ะโอเคออปชาเจ้าล้านจอมบล็อกให้เดี๋ยวเขาเลยจอสองตู้หล่อเนาะเจ้าได้เฉยว่าเนี่ยนอนบล็อกเตอนิวจิตเตอร์นั่นน่ะจีนึงเจ้าเราหมูปูเราเขาจะเปเต้ที่จะหาหุ่นเจียเต้นเตอร์เลยจียอลิงเตอร์นั่นจีขอแต่มันชื่อสีแต่สีน้อนั่นจีได้เขาจะนั่งหมูจูเตาเราหมูเจ้าหม้อเราเต้นเตอร์ย้อนจงให้เดี๋ยวปูเขาอู้มาเนี่ยนอนเมกาจะใช้บ่อเตาให้เดี๋ยวได้เฉยบล็อกเตาหวานมั่งแต่สีอย่าลิแต่สีน้อได้เฉยหวานมั่งเลย tế chờ nè nó giờ ý lu và tế chờ nữa và mang sai tàu cơ lý thia chỉ do linh đạo này chỉ President Barack Obama muốn còn tàu tàu phong dư thia muốn cho lù cho lợi thia hay tiệt ta xin nó ý khó họp phe rồi tế chờ mấy cả nó mà giờ ý khó họp phe hay tiệt mấy cả giống mua nè nó nhiều muốn gì trâu rồi ta sai rồi tế chờ blog có tế chờ blog thì lý chạy tàu chọn blog và nè nó lấy tròผู้thầu u thầu nè nó trâu cho blog rồi tiền cầu xa cho bên đó trời li con đó nè chị nè nó lấy mất xả lọ nữa nè mấy cả một chip bùi gì cho chia bombing mission do có một hai trăm tờ nè nó chip bùi gì cho chia khó hay tiệt lấy xa nè nó bị trôi rộng đó lấy xa năng một lấy cho nhau hồng một bom lọ rồi tới chấm lọ chỉ còn nó lấy một bó cho cá có chấm lẩu nữa này nó có mù hay tiệt có này nó tí thái tàu đồ sa ở lại xí ở tròn đồ sa ở North Vietnamese một đồ sa South Việt Nam đó này chỉ là bó này nó một đồ sa Hồ Chí Minh có trail là cho kiến đó chỉ ta xin nó nè lỡ hai tàu hay tiệt lỡ mua số tàu lỡ tem bạc mua lý gì chậu lan chậu baseball size chấm lồng đó rồi chỉ tàu tơ này chỉ còn nói cho ít khó nếu một nhia là muốn gì tên đó thiếtแต่chỉ cho President Barack Obama trên một cái chấm lọ xứ nếu muốn chỉ nó tu hóa tài rồi thì cái chấm lọ tu thay cho nó tàn thọ thế chỉ ta linh đạo nữ trận chỉ rồi lời cho sa Southeast Asia sát tí rồi số cho nọ không gì tên đó có muốn tàu tôi có phong dư có tàu hay tiệt có nếu nó xa và nếu nó xa không thế mua không một số economic đó có nếu cái chấm lọ hay cái số là một chiếc cổng thế thế bỏ tàu thế tiệt nếu nó số nhưng một bù một đồ sát tí hoặc là cái project tên đó một trong cái là thêm một nhiều trò rồi cái chấm lọ chỉ dân đó nó họ rong xe hay tiền người ta muốn sửa tới chấm lo thế chỉ quyền chỉ là cha nè cũng thả đâu này nhưng để cho nó lợi cũng cho nên muốn chi bây giờ tôi là tôi lụa bên mấy họ commercial bên mà đã cả là muốn chi này rồi xem này chuyện đó cụ thể là Geena Cha hay sự là mong như TV nóเขาsựตอนเต้นนะอย่าอีเขาสื่อที่ชาลมันตรงนี้จอในดักการมันตรงเต้ชมิกาเนาะนู้วันเนี่ยเนาะวันเสาร์วันที่ตาแค่เนาะซื้อปีแค่ตอนนู้วันเสาร์แล้วจะ Saturday ย่ารู้จักหัวเดียพอนี่นะย่อชาโอคลาโฮมาหนูมุ่งเขาอากังหนูรอชับเลยตัวเขาวันเนี่ยเนาะแกงคือละ history ตอนเดชาโอคลาโฮมาเนี่ยหนูเขาอากังเดี๋ยวจะชี้ point เจ้าเดียเขาเนาะนะเจยิ่งเนี่ยเนาะปอที่เราเนาะนะเขาอากังเดี๋ยวตัวชา South Dakota ติงก็มุตัวชา Texas bà nói nhầm bà và xuất xứ hay tiền nếu mua họ cái nó lo chấp lại đầu nhau sa Oklahoma trời li lo hành đó này chỉ là mua bé châu chi là cho họ để wastewater disposal wells cho nói là cho wells và này nó khâu day là chỉ là mua tàu cầu hùng gì là thế họ earthquake là do họ này nó chỉ point đầu nó nữ nhỏ này nó nhỏ khi họ lúc rõ hồ và này nó hay tiền và phiêu nỉ nó nếu bị cái thổ xa tăng mũ ó thổ sơn gió thổ sơn để ý cho tin này trợ bự giờ trời lên lo hành tới này chỉ lú rò và này nó pony nó ta chỉ nó lỡ trời chỉ tàu mua khi hay tiền từ trâu mó là chỉ trâu móแต่chỉ riêng bao tàu hay tiền do ý họ căng lo chấp lại thế trời lên là cho nó say xùa nó mà tên bà cho căng để phong mua trâu sao Oklahoma ó nó nó do khó hay tiền sẽ đợi phanh bài khơi trò hậu này nó nữa nè chỉ nhớ trời lên sẽ đợi cho lỡ hại này chỉ do họ uống tàu này chỉ ó nó trâu sao Oklahoma lấy những mua căng đầu cơ lý thiết tên nu những mua lý nó bị cho second căngแต่ฉันบอกนะยังบอกรอเกิดลีแต่ฉันเจอเลยเลยจอนต้องเต๋อเทียเจอเลยนอเจอหายนะมาขอให้เตียเลยหมู่เข้าตีจ่อเดียวตีนอเขาอ่านเต๋อล้อนะมายิ่งยออีขอให้เตียเนี่ยนอลูสเตย์อยู่จุดตัวอ้วนเต้นเต๋อเทียที่ลิป้าตัวเทียเชิดตัวลูสเตย์เทียจิตาลินเต๋อจะที่นั่งเทียมัวเขาหรือเทียในจิตาฉันนอจีเป้าเต๋อจะอยู่บริจาอยู่กับจู่แล้วจีจู่เต้นเต๋อเกเต๋อใช้ USGS National Earthquake Information Center หรือเราหมู่หายนะมาเนี่ยนอว่าtrời li và Oklahoma khó nhiều họ căng nó chỉ nhớ đầu cái sa South Dakota, Wisconsin, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas nhưng một số tên tờ hùng gì này chỉ xe là sa la li trả là hai li trả xe này nó dụ li trả đó sa Oklahoma vì thế ông nó một căng đầu cơ thiên đầu thầu hùng lợi làเขาสอสื่อ next Sunday น้อยอีกคอนนิวส์อย่าสอสื่อตรงนี้ให้เราหมู่จอนุ่มมันเดย์นะเกซื้อชาตรงนี้ให้เตียนนุ่มมันเดย์นะเกซื้อชา North Korean แล้วจิมลองรู้ลีนะจิแล้วเตาซาวันนี้เนาะเป้คอนะจอนนี้อย่ารู้ให้เตียเป้คอแล้วหัวเตียเนี่ยเนาะ medium range แล้วอะไรจีได้หางเทีย แต่ชีเป้ลูมิโซแล้วตัวซามูเนี่ยเนาะเต็มบ่าเดก็เนี่ยเนาะแล้วซามูจะลิโจปนนังก็ไม่เนี่ยเนาะเจตัวชาญี่ปุ่นติเชอแต่ชีเนี่ยป้องมูตอนได้เห็ดซื้อเลยเดี๋ยวชา North Korean ขอเลยเดี๋ยวเลยซาเนาะนะมาแล้วให้เดี๋ยวอีเจ้าเลยเพิ่งชีแล้วจ่อวันเนี่ยเนาะมิโซเลยเพิ่งชีก็แล้วว่าตัวก็เดย์เจ้ามันจีนั่นน่ะอีขอ part เดี๋ยวแล้วเขา program แล้วย่อแล้วเขาแล้วให้เดี๋ยวแล้วเนี่ยเนาะชีก็แล้วที่เรียกว่าตัวหมูเดย์เนี่ยจะตั้งเนี่ยจะติเชอยอดรสชาติเอเชียแล้วยิ่งใช้เจอคอยแต่ North Korean ชิมลองหลูลีเนี่ยเพี่งเอากับเตาเนี่ยจะมิโซนอก็ยาหมดตัวเตาโตเนี่ยเนาะว่าจะว่าย่อโตชา Southeast Asian เตาน่ะตัว South Korean ตัวเนี่ยเนาะ Joint Chief of Staff ตัวเนี่ยเราโมหายเตาให้แต่เป้ลูมิโซแล้วซาเนาะเนี่ยเนาะเต็มบาจีเขาจะมิโซแล้วล่อแล้วหูเดียว roll downs เนาะซื้อในเกณฑ์หนึ่งแล้วซาตัวชา Western North Korean town รู้จอนเตอในยาเตาหมูเนี่ยเนาะต่อได้เห็ดซื้อเต็มเตอเลยซื้อแต่ชิเจอรีตัว Chief of Staff นั่นหายนำมาเต็มบาขอแล้วซาจะมิโซนหมูนำมาแล้วพวกเขาเดียว on protest lỡ tàu trả là một trâu vì thế ta chỉ nó nhớ trâu sao chúa tê trâu nútวันเสาร์วันที่ta nó nè lỡ cho nên nó nọ trừ thiên nè President Barack Obama ta nó chân tao lỡ tôi mua ít trong sáng là chỉ hãy cho tên nó này chỉ tên bản nút Monday nó tên bản này nó từ North Korean từ President đó nữ trò sát tàu trại nữ xa cho biết số năm một khi rồi lỡ sơ hay để nữ chỉ nhẹ lỡ khó lỡ tôi sĩ thả thế sáng là thế này nó sĩ công xuyên lỡ sơ để trở lên Japan là Nhật Bản khó này nó U-Down News lỡ lúc news lỡ thả cho khó bé mà để bé lúc biết số nó trong lúc Monday nó nếu một bóng trâu ở nhà nó Nhật Bản nhà nó khó để và này nó hiện chữ nhớ đồ là sát dòng là hồi Sea of Japan nó nè này chỉ con nó này chỉ lỡ và này nó những chỉ cho trong xe rồi sang tới thia này chỉ con tới này chỉ sẽ là thả đi trả nó là với mà cho là một chỗ nèแต่chỉ có số sự là next news Sunday nó này chỉ cho là một chỗ nè ở nhớ đồ sang Madrid nhớ Spainแต่chỉ nói kia sư nhớ the Costa Blanca Resort lỡ hay tiền nút Sunday tiền còn nút Monday nó lỡ chủ tàu có ít xe tụi cho năng resident cho bây sang nhớ tới thiết cho năng tourist ở một số đồ sát tí là tàu tàu nó có chân tới rồi ít có emergency service họ tới bằng chữ sĩ nó chỉ lỡ chỉ baoแต่chỉ mà tên bản li lỡ cá tàu xứ hay tiền này nó nếu mua bé kho và này nó và chờ cú nhé ở lúa tờ toàn do xứ này chỉ li cú tuaแต่chỉ trong cổ đi thứ mua lỡ nó chỉ mua cái bé kho chờ tới tí này nó cũng nhớ ý và này nó bạn đó sư chỉ tàu một cú để tê va tê chế hùng gì hoặc là nhớ rề lúc rõ hồi tiền Javia nó này chỉ lấy thì gọi ý cho tí năng tàu tờ chỉ khó lấy bao tàu thiên lấy cá tàu hay tiền tên bản nó mua ý tu tí năng lời nếu lấy mua ý bơ ấy lấy yên mua lúc bánh sữa nó lọ mua hay tiền cọ lấy mua này nó cho hai rong đó lấy kia là lấy rề lúc rõ đó nó mà vì hay tiền trong lúc Sunday kia sư thông tới hợp thầu hay tiền này nó này xó cơ li nhớ đồ xa thì lâu thì và này nó Madrid đó nhớ đợi nó khó temperature nó trâu hay thì cú xó li trả tên đợi đồ xa tí nó mà nếu như ít bùi gì Fahrenheit điện như nó xó cơ li nó chị lợi thì li chỉ li mua cho trong đợi lợi lòi có cú cho vai cho chuyện đó chị này nó thầu đợi nó mà năng như một gì chống đồ xa tí tên đợi thế lợi thì li hải tàu cọ li ít xe cho tí này tàu tàu cho dây giòn tàu vì hay tiền lợi này nó tua yên và chỉ yên trâu hoàn tàu cái thì thế trong lúc Sunday trong đu li trả lại liênตัวเจอเขาลดเติมเติมvìเหตุนี้ชอก็เลยอีปวดเติมเดียน่าจะยิ่งจียงยี่จนเลยตัวจะลดเติมอย่างเลยแต่ก็อีเชี่ยตัวที่นั่งเติมเติมแล้วเขาสื่อ next เขาสื่อตอนได้น้อยอย่างอีเขาสื่อเทียบชาลมุจนเน่แต่ชินาเกสื่อเรื่อง World Health Organization แล้วอย่างลูกหูเนาะนั่นเลยให้เตียก็khi đó sẽ được hay tiền lấy certified môn toán tới hay tiền Sri Lanka giờ ilu và nên nó làm tới chờ lấy hay tiền lấy malaria free nè malaria free hay tiền chỉ mua tụ các món là trừ rồi lúc tới chờ tới từ thầu li bé không là một do li tài xí nó là malaria giờ ít tụ các món hay tiền giống trách chịu tàu tọ dù nó chỉ dùng một cú thiên dù này nó bự chỉ trong rõ thiên nó chỉ tàu mỏ thiên đũa thiên địa ta hậu tên tàu nó chỉ ý xong nó cái xứ từ giải tàu malaria nó sẽ được tàu tua cho lấy chip bộ xe từ tin hàng tàu mua ý xongแต่ชิลู organization who nó tàu mua đánh tàu tàu cho sa này nó và lúc tới chờ Sri Lanka nó hay tiếc lỡ để nó uống ít khó campaign là một tua là do giống cho chủ nó thông ta lỡ tới thầu một bé xong nó chỉ tao một ít thứ năng report thì là mua tụ cam món đỡ lý nó chỉ là rong share chỉ là thế tàu rèn tông tờ thế đại certificate nữa nè là một trâu lỡ để nó lúc tới chờ tớ chỉ ta chỉ nó chỉ là thứ tiêu tôi lười tới chờ tôi rồi lúc tớ là quá chỉ tên tớ nó là uống ít khó campaign hay tiệt cọ chỉ cho cái tàu tụ cam món là khá là muốn cái đầu xì ở lăng cả thì hiện tại này giờ của Geena Cha hay so sự đến mong USA TV. Thank you so much donation đã tôi cộng đọc cụ thể cộng mong USA TV dọn dọn biết khó sở sự dạy gì tặng trọng tu California có sĩ hợp đã các khi đuổi ý rồi gì tặng California có sĩ hợp thầu sơn gió thế nó cái như dọn donation đơn dọn dọn tận đây là chủ sở sự hỗ trợ thế bye bye.